The MV Agusta Superveloce is a supersportsman in retro guise for €21,390 RRP. The technical basis was the F3. Accordingly, the Superveloce is a technically advanced motorcycle with full equipment and performance. Volker and Dietmar did a round. Buckle up, please. Optics to kneel down. Actually, a motorcycle test should represent the capabilities of a bike and leave the optics or their evaluation to the eye of the beholder. This is not possible with the Superveloce 800. We think this is one of the most beautiful motorcycles on the market. The striking front with the individual headlights and the fairing, the short rear with a rear light in Starfighter design, the single-sided swing arm and the gold-painted rims, the curved shape of the tank, the silencer with the 3 bags. Wherever you look you will find Italian motorcycle building art at its best. The Superveloce 800 is available in red and yellow with either black or gold frames. Very teasing is the brown leather belt, which stretches over the tank. See picture gallery. What's the point? I don't know, it certainly doesn't have a function. Looks good though. And so it has a function after all. As expected, the seat test of the Superveloce is stark. As usual with super sports cars, you sit strongly inclined forward, the back crooked, the feet far back and the low-mounted handlebars stretch the rider over the tank. Although, it's not quite as blatant as on other athletes, but older drivers like us get back after an hour. The machine is not suitable for the long tour and certainly not for 2, because the passenger only finds a seat roll and finds the knees between his ears because of the high-mounted foot pegs. For free, who wants to ride this bike in pairs except in an emergency? Well, sitting position of a super sports car. Pay attention to the position of the foot pegs and handlebars. 360-degree tour around the MV Agusta Superveloce 800. Technology of the MV Agusta Superveloce 800. The Superveloce comes with all the bells and whistles that are currently available for motorcycles: 6-axis IMU with lean angle sensors, 8-way adjustable traction control, launch control, wheelie control, 5-inch color TFT display, handy connect via MV MyRide app and even a cruise control. MV has donated to the Superveloce. Here you can most clearly notice the relationship to the F3, which is technically almost identical. Unfortunately, MV has forgotten an automatic turn signal reset. Just as irritated us was the non-adjustable and somewhat cheap-looking clutch lever, which has no place on an otherwise high-quality bike. We are happy about a radial brake pump from Nissan and about a not-so-complicated operation of the many options of the MV. You can even put in aero navigation on the display via the app. The lighting is completely LED, but there are no hazard warning lights. Especially the lighting front and rear is so chic that we can only congratulate MV. This is how it drives itself. Before we start, a brief note about the very short wheelbase of only 1.38 m. This causes tall people to feel a little trapped. You may like that in a super sports car, but Dietmar would have liked to have had a little more space to the rear. Of course, you sit wonderfully integrated in the machine and want only one thing when stationary: fire up the Fox and let it go.
3, 2, 1. Das Schöne ist, man kann das alles. Und ab geht der Fuchs. Zack, 100. Ja.
The sound of the Superveloce is similar to the F3RR we have already tested. Underneath it sounds like a sack of shaken shells. We stole this very apt name, and on top of that he screams at his driver with pleasure like a greyhound that was let loose while hunting for the hare. This is truly an experience, and no other brand sounds comparable. A Ducati with 3 cylinders would sound similar, but they don't exist. Why? When driving, in addition to the beguiling sound, 2 other things immediately stand out. The Superveloce is super handy and the quickshifter works perfectly. No matter whether you are on the gas or not, shifting up and down without clutching is smooth and as if by magic. In fact, we have rarely used such a perfect quickshifter. The Superveloce has a very large, usable speed range. From 3000 rpm to 13,000 rpm, it goes wonderfully harmoniously to the gas. At the bottom, the triple is still tame, but at the latest at 8,000 revolutions it becomes turbulent. Then the engine feels noticeably comfortable, everything suddenly looks very fine, and also the throttle response is then just right between direct but not overwhelming. However, this style leads to the fact that you always drive too fast. You can't do anything about it, unless you force yourself to do so. We recommend that you plan financially for the conclusion of a points subscription in Flensburg before the first trip. The braking performance of the MV is also remarkable. The monoblock Brembos, which are fed by a radial Nissan brake pump, bite into the 320 cubic centimeters double discs in a snappy but finely adjustable manner and bring the bike to a stop in no time without the rider having to use large hand forces. The Continental 100 Malawian Quatches cornering ABS regulates just as finely, and even during emergency braking, the rear does not start to tail or any other unrest in the load. The fully adjustable chassis of the Superveloce is just as confident. The combination of Marzocchi USD fork and ZF Sachs rear shock absorber does a very good job. Even at 258 km per hour according to the speedometer, see motorway driving in the test video, the MV is on the track like a super sports car should do. In view of the chassis geometry, short wheelbase and very steep fork, this is anything but self-evident. Conclusion: what sticks goodness, what a machine! Since the release of the Superveloce 2020, I have longed for a detailed ride. And I enjoyed every minute with the MV. Of course, the Superveloce is also a small Italian diva in some things, but overall I was surprised how balanced it is. It is wonderfully unreasonably loud and not very suitable for everyday use, and is therefore either shooed over country roads and racetracks or just put in the living room, although it would actually be too good for that. It is best to order 2 for both purposes. The test bike was kindly provided by Bergmann & Sohn in Hamburg. There she stands in red as a demonstrator and in yellow to look at. In general, a visit to the Netterfeld is always worthwhile, because the MV exhibition of Bergmann & Sohn is a revelation for every motorcycle fan. You can actually see all these works of art from Varese for free and even sit on them. Guys, do that while that's still possible. Because who knows, maybe one day we will have to order motorcycles online. May this please take a long time.